evening. I'm James Jarman with KRDO News Channel 13. We apologize for interrupting, but clearly something terrible is happening on the eastern seaboard. There's been a wave of murders. Now, it appears that creatures are eating humans. The first reports that were coming in, of course, were simply just unbelievable. That's all we can report about that, is that we were getting eyewitness accounts from people who were clearly incoherent, screaming, just they didn't seem credible at all, but these reports continue to come in, so we can't discount them anymore. It does appear that humans are being eaten by some sort of creature. Now, the medical examinations of the victims have bore out the fact that they were eaten, at least partially devoured. I think we do have some late word just arriving now into the studio, and it is being confirmed that this latest discourse from the National Civil Defense Headquarters in Washington confirms that people who have recently died have been returning back to life and committing acts of murder. Now they've continued this transcript here with information saying that there have been an investigation into reports from funeral homes, morgues, and hospitals, and they have concluded that the unburied dead are coming back to life. Now, obviously, this is hard for us to report, hard for us to even believe. As we mentioned, we had discounted the fact from witnesses earlier because it just seemed too unbelievable. But now it does appear that this is happening, that the dead are coming back to life. Now, we have been advising you to stay behind locked doors for your own safety, but the civil defense machinery is organized now, and they're providing rescue stations for people with food, shelter, medical treatment, and protection by the National Guard. Now, stay tuned, of course, to KRDO News Channel 13, and we're going to have a list of those shelters for the ones that are closest to you. We're going to be flashing those up on the screen throughout the night here, and as long as we can at least stay on the air with you. Also, we've just learned that an emergency meeting has been set up with the President, the CIA, the FBI, the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Now, also, space experts are being called in. The big question there, why are they calling space experts in on this? Now, this may have something to do with that satellite to Venus. It was a recent Explorer mission, and as we can recall, that satellite was supposed to come back to Earth, but it never got here. The space vehicle that orbited Venus was purposely shot down by NASA. Now, they said they shot it down, at least, when scientists discovered that there may have been some sort of mysterious high-level radiation associated with it. Now, could this radiation, though, have something to do with what we're seeing here, with what we're suffering? And joining us now is Dr. Grimes. And Dr. Grimes, your staff has been working on this along with you to try and figure out exactly what's happening. Do we have any answers at this time?
We have some answers, but let me stress the importance of seeking medical attention for anyone who's been injured in any way. We don't know yet what complications might result from such injuries, but to allay these complications, it would help if people would get their flu shot, be adequately immunized, make sure that they're healthy, that they exercise every day, they eat their fruits and veggies, that they get plenty of sleep, and that they have good sexual health.
Well, that's some good information. Now, I'm glad you mentioned the flu shots, because some people had been talking about that, wondering if that might have had something to do with this. A lot of conspiracy theorists. We can now say that that didn't have anything to do with what we're seeing now. The government saying that it does appear perhaps to be something with radiation, with this Venus probe. What have you heard?
Well, the Venus probe did carry an unusual amount of radiation. Certainly enough to cause mutations. At the university in the cold room, we had a cadaver from which all 4 limbs had been amputated. Sometime early this morning, it opened its eyes and began to move its trunk. It was dead. It opened its eyes and tried to move. Any dead body should be disposed of at once, preferably by cremation, and then people should wash their hands with soap and water.
Now, how long then after death are the bodies being reanimated? How long do we have?
We don't know for sure. It might be a matter of minutes.
Minutes. That doesn't give anybody hardly any time at all.
No, you're right. It doesn't give them time to make funeral arrangements. The bodies must be carried out to the street and then burned. They must be burned immediately. Soak them in gasoline and burn them. The bereaved will have to forego the dubious comforts that a funeral service will give. They're just dead flesh and dangerous, and maybe not soap and water. Maybe hand sanitizer would work better.
Dr. Grimes, thanks so much. And you're going to stay with us throughout the day, throughout the night, and keep us updated with the latest you have. And of course, we're going to get those emergency shelters up on the air as soon as we can. Of course, this is KRDO News Channel 13 with this breaking news update. We'll, of course, keep you updated. As soon as we get more information, we'll bring it to you live.